So I watched Bad Trip. I've actually watched it twice so far. I
Nice.
love it. I think it's absolutely hilarious.
Nice.
As someone who grew up with Jackass and all that stuff, like it just hits that spot. But I found myself wondering if you ran into an issue of being recognized more
Yeah.
often than maybe would have happened for those guys.
Yeah, we had it down to a science where we didn't prank anybody in my demographic. My demographic skews like males under 29 years old. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
if you see a lot of people we're pranking, it's like soccer moms in their like 40s and 50s and people that wouldn't necessarily recognize me. So anytime we could bring the marks in to be pranked into a situation, we would you know reach out to older folk. There's that. Anytime there was a guy or anybody coming into the situation, into the location, or into frame where it looked like they might recognize me, we had a code word where I'd because I always had a lav mic, a hidden lav mic on in every scene, so I could just talk to my mic to the director and the producers. I could go, "Hey, Phyllis," was our code word. We're like, "Oh, my friend Phyllis is coming. She's in her green shirt," and then my stunt coordinator or PA would come in, intercept the person, and just kind of go, "Hey, you know what we're doing here? Why don't you just," and kind of just like quietly get them to not enter frame and not ruin the scene. So we had multiple tactics, and I cut my hair. I wore like dorky Old Navy clearance kind of outfits, and Rel cut his beard, and Tiffany obviously had full tilt, face tattoos and cornrows, and um, yeah,
One of the scenes that I was most curious about is the musical number.
yeah,
Was that a complicated scene to like execute?
yeah. I mean, we executed it in multiple parts. So we first filmed it in a mall in Atlanta, and little bits and pieces of that you'll see in the musical, but the majority of it we filmed in a mall in LA. And like the outdoor piece was different. Like the outdoor piece where I'm talking to the guy and I kick off the musical, I talked to like 10 guys before I got it right with that guy, and he gave my character the proper advice, because we never fake a single reaction. We always only use genuine reactions out of people. So I had to like really fish for that. Like I needed somebody talking to be like, yeah, go for it, man. Try. If you're in love, you gotta, bet on love. And it took me like talking to strangers for 4 hours to like get that guy to say those like three sentences needed to push the narrative forward. Then I just started singing the song. I jumped on the car. Then I went inside, and then we filmed another part of the prank inside. But that was just as hard as any of the other. That wasn't any harder or easier than a lot of the other stuff in the movie. Sure. It was all very, very hard. It was all.
I would imagine so. The doorman, the security guard at the end, was that set up in any way, or did that dude really just like let you in?
Basically, a lot of these people we hire, or my producer will disguise himself as somebody else. Like my producer went on Craigslist or whatever and goes, "Hey, I run security at a very prestigious art gallery. I need a doorman to just check IDs at the door and blah, 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 yada, yada, security." So that guy was just like hired for the day, and he thought he was, and he is a doorman. I actually ran into him like a few weeks after I pranked him at a bar all drunk and like took a picture with him. So anyway, so my producer, who's posing as the head of security at some prestigious art gallery, set him up because really like A-list celebrities only are allowed in here, and like you bring stakes to the ruse that you tell these people to really gas them up. So he's like, anybody that's not on this list, you're not allowed. Shouldn't be an issue, but just don't let anybody in. And we sent a few people in. We sent a few decoy people in first, so he just gets like the hang of it. establish some normalcy. 45 minutes go by, then they cue me. Then you saw everything happen. I'm trying to barge in this guy, and he was tough as bricks. He so he's trying to let me in, not letting in. And then my producer, after like 20 minutes of trying to barge in, and I'm like bringing this guy to his wit's end. My producer in the security guard's earwig goes, "All right, that's fine. That's actually that's the boss's son. He's a little crazy. You can let him in." So the guy was like, "What the serious?" So that's why he goes, I can't believe I'm doing this, or something like that, because he was like, why did my boss for the day just tell me like to be so strict, and then after all of that hoopla, he's like, let this guy in. So it was a little bit of like pranking him behind the scenes and pranking him in front of the camera. It was like a double effect. So yeah, like we really like bent.
That seems like a rare catch to get. You know what I mean? Like to have somebody like be on both sides of the situation.
Yeah, well, because we don't want any reaction to be fake, so we didn't want to be like, we didn't want to cut, reveal, oh, you're on a hidden camera prank. Hey, man, we need this line from you where you just say like, okay, come on in. Like that would feel fake because it would be fake, and it's not the right way to do it. So you have to like every reaction you mine and every little piece of exposition you need, you have to fish it out of the mark via a prank tactic, just so it feels organic. So it is like very dogmatic filmmaking. It's a dogma. Move over Dogma 95. It's Dogma 96.
What I'm wondering is, were there ever moments where you had to alternate from what you had in your narrative, or had to adjust your narrative in order to make a prank segment work?
Constantly. You're constantly writing, rewriting, kind of rehearsing internally, then going out, shooting it, editing it, realizing you needed some other piece to it, going back out and picking up that piece. You're constantly in all four stages of production. You're constantly like writing, prepping, shooting, editing, writing, prepping, shooting, editing for a movie like this. It's a lot of like trial and error, or one scene would be like at the top of Act 2, and then in editing we realized it belonged in the back half of Act 2, or whatever, or like it went in one way and we got this specific reaction, and we would have to like shoot a piece of connective tissue to make it make sense. So it was a long, arduous process.
Thank you so much, Eric. I appreciate your time today. It's awesome. The movie's great. I'm excited for everybody to see it.